Some of the big things that we want to kind of just remind people of is first just awareness that school's starting and kind of the roadway dynamics are going to change a fair bit with buses and parents bringing kids to school, kids on bikes, kids walking. It's just, and something that, again, it's been summer and also the last few years might be something we're not as familiar with. So one, just a bit of a reminder and awareness to people that it's back to school and we need to be kind of extra mindful of road safety and ensuring we kind of keep those children safe. So some of the main things are looking at the school zones, just being very aware of these school zones and the community safety zones, and just kind of being extra mindful when you're driving through these, just looking out for kids, looking out for buses, that sort of thing, minding your speeds, and just being a little bit extra diligent. It's kind of, all drivers need to take a bit more responsibility to kind of ensure we keep these kids safe as they go back to school. I mean, some of the big things that we look at, speed is obviously a real issue. That's an issue, I think, everywhere, and something we try and do a lot of proactive enforcement with. In a lot of these school zones and community safety zones, speed fines are doubled. So you're looking at substantial fines and demerit points, depending on as speeds increase, obviously fines increase as well, but it doesn't take much in a school zone to get into the hundreds of dollars and multiple points. So those are, speed, well, it's an issue. Also, drivers should be aware just they don't get, a 30 over speeding ticket in the community safety zone is a pretty hefty penalty. So, the fines and demerit points should be a bit of an incentive, along with kind of, wanting to keep kids safe back to school. The other stuff, kind of thing to consider is school buses. School buses, the volume of children they move around the city is pretty staggering. And also kind of alarming is the number of school buses, the stop arm violations that we see. I think in the last calendar, or the last school year we had, I think they had over 360 reported stop arm violations. So that's where the buses stopped, arms out for kids to get on and off and someone's driven by. So in that period from September till June, they had more than one a day, which is quite alarming. So one, it can have fairly significant ramifications, right, if something went wrong. As well, the fines for that are pretty substantial. They're nearing $500 and several demerit points for passing a school bus. It can be catastrophic. We probably, thankfully it doesn't happen very often, and we don't really see it or haven't seen it, and we hope to have it kind of continue that way. But you pass a school bus on a 4-lane road and the kids crossing from the other side of the road, it can be a disaster. It doesn't take a high speed to have some pretty catastrophic injuries to especially a young child crossing the road. So, it's something that drivers need to be ultra aware of, and that kind of very brief lapse in attention or judgment could have very, very real consequences for them and many others. So, it's something that we hope to avoid, and nothing that we or anybody wants to have to see. So we're kind of hoping this messaging will remind people of that, and just take that extra time, be a little bit more attentive. You see that bus, be aware that those lights are probably going to come on. When you see the yellow warning lights come on, that bus is stopping. So stop and let it do its thing. And when that bus is stopped, you just stop your car and wait till it's safe to go again. So I'm Acting Sergeant Tom Armstrong with the Thunder Bay Police Traffic Unit. So both as a police officer and a father, I want to, as we get back into this school season here, I want to just thank you for driving safe and keeping our kids safe.